So you want to start an e-commerce shop and you're confused. Should you start with Shopify? Should you start with WordPress, WooCommerce? Should you build your own solution? The biggest players today obviously are Shopify and a WordPress website. There's no doubt that these are the biggest two names. Now, which one should you choose depends a lot on your demands. I have both a WordPress website and a Shopify website, both that have been operational for about 3 years. The Shopify is more recent, and I've gone to understand what I need, and some of my requirements are met by WordPress, some of them by Shopify. So there's no generic answer that one of them is better.
I'm going to share with you an analysis based on my experience, based on 5 criteria: difficulty, reliability, speed, customization, and of course, price. Based on those 5 differences, I think it'll be easier for you to make the right decision. Okay, first, let's look at the difficulty. If you look at the WordPress infrastructure, you'll see that it's a bit difficult to navigate. The website is a bit heavy, and it seems that you are somewhere in the mid-90s in terms of the technology. So in terms of difficulty, I would rate WordPress as an 8, high difficulty. When you come to Shopify, you're more on an iPhone-like experience. I always compare them each together, that Shopify is your iPhone and then WordPress is your Android. Realistically speaking, that's the biggest difference. If you understand that analogy, you understand very well the difference between the two. So here, in terms of difficulty, I'd give it a 5. It's not difficult, very easy to navigate, very easy to add items. You would need very limited external help. You can do a lot of things on your own. Now, of course, there are things that people would do for you for small prices. It all depends how much you value your time and how much you can do in your time. But in terms of, let's say, difficulty overall, Shopify is way easier than WordPress. Now, if we look at reliability, first of all, you need to understand that your WordPress website will need hosting. So what is hosting? It is where your data is stored. And there's a lot of factors that are dependent on your host, how quick the website is, how reliable does it go down. I've been in between hosting a lot of the times with my WordPress website, and I would say I've had a lot of panic days. I had days when I would wake up and the website would be down, and I would panic because we'd have $100 ads running per hour, and all this money would go to waste. So I wouldn't blame WordPress on this. Maybe if you find the right provider for your hosting, you would be able to get a better reliability score. But I definitely give WordPress a 6 because less reliable. Now, it's not WordPress's fault, but it is what it is. Shopify, it hasn't crashed once. It hasn't stuck once. It's an iPhone. It just works, reliable. Yeah, give it a 9. Sometimes you need help, but you can absolutely do everything on your own. Now, if we look at the speed, here's the metrics results for my WordPress website. Yeah, and here is the GT metrics results for my Shopify website. I'm only going to see this after I edit the video. I'm not going to see this now. And I'm pretty sure that I'm confident that the Shopify is quicker. Now, again, this is all tied up to your host. There's a lot of things that are dependent on your host, but as well, since Shopify takes care of the hosting and most of the applications are kind of controlled environment, just like the iPhone. So there's limited changes that you can do, but in terms of speed, it's overall Shopify. Another very important category, I'm going to add this category as the last part of the video, and it's SEO. I forgot to add that category in the beginning. So we have now 6 categories. We've covered difficulty, reliability, speed. We're going to look at customization, price, and SEO.
So in terms of customization, definitely WordPress is very customizable. I mean, you could open a currency based on a person's IP or open a chat box based on the person's location. The possibilities are limitless. Of course, you need outside help, so it's a bit more difficult, but it's customizable, big time. Shopify, you have your limits, you know. There are things that you cannot do. My biggest struggle right now with my Shopify store is that I've opened it in Bahrain. We're trying to sell across the Gulf. Now, the customer, okay, he will see his local currency, but when he checks out, he will get my currency and he will be confused. A lot of people don't like this currency story. And they'll go like, this is not local. This is going to take time until I receive it. Oh no. So this is a big disadvantage for me in Shopify. And there's no solution so far. If you know of any solution, please let me know. But this is customization. WordPress definitely wins. Price-wise, Shopify, there's a $30 subscription fee and plus a percentage of the sales, depending on what country you are. WordPress, there's no percentage, and again, depending on what you are, in some regions there's a fee, but most probably it's a zero. So definitely WordPress. It's less expensive as a monthly maintenance fee, and probably you'll install a lot of plugins that are free. Sometimes it's a one-time fee. In Shopify, it's constant. So yeah, Shopify is more expensive, more reliable. I'd say if you're doing everything yourself, you're not using any freelancer, you don't need a lot of complication, Shopify is beautiful. There are stores that are generating millions that are on Shopify. If you want customization, if you can get some developer to help you out and you want a really complex situation, definitely WordPress wins. Now, since Shopify is not customizable, since it follows kind of the same route in terms of technology, it's more difficult to rank on Google than with a WordPress website. I hope this information will be useful for you to make a choice. If you have any questions about any of those, I'm not a programmer myself, but I run those websites. I try to fix them when they go down. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please do subscribe if it was of any value to you, and have a lovely day.